Welcome to our new feature, Election Matters, which is where we'll get more details about the upcoming elections and how the processes are likely to unfold. Now, each week on Wednesday at this hour, we'll bring you these conversations and also take your questions to answer some of your questions and also get you some understanding as to some of the electoral processes that you are likely to see unfold before your eyes. Now, today, we're focusing on the 3 ballot papers and how this will, unfold. How will it all work when you get to your booth? What do you do? Is it likely to be a longer ballot paper and all of that? So let's talk about this and get you some answers now. IEC Deputy CEO Masego Sheburi joins us live now. Thank you so much for your time. A lot of our viewers are looking forward to this particular conversation and how it's going to unfold. It's buzzing already with some of the questions. So let's start. The 3 ballot papers, how will it all work?
Okay, let's put it this way. A ballot paper is the only tool at the disposal of a voter to record their choice, so that that choice could be translated into representation into a legislative assembly. Why do we have 3 ballots? Hitherto, we've always voted on 2 ballots in national and provincial elections. It is so because the contest was only for political parties. In that context, we were able to vote on a single ballot, and that ballot would have been counted twice, once in the region and for the second time in the national elections. But because there is an inclusion of independent candidates, which means the ballot paper for the regions will be varied. So it is no longer possible to reckon that ballot paper twice, once in the region and the second time in the national. There are 19 elections that will be contested on the 29th of May, and they are broken down as follows. The first election, for which there are 2 ballots, is the election for the seats in the National Assembly. That is a 2-tier election. In other words, there are 2 layers to that election. The first layer, for the first 200 seats, will be contested by political parties. Why only political parties? It is so that you can honor the injunction in the Constitution that demands that an election must result in general in proportionality. The second layer of the seats in the National Assembly will be contested by both parties and independent candidates. And those seats are spread across the 9 provinces, which we refer to as regions for purposes of the electoral scheme. So the National Assembly in Cape Town will be contested on the basis of 2 ballots. The first to elect the 200 members for compensatory seats. The second to elect members of parties as well as independent candidates who are contesting for seats in the National Assembly through one of the 9 regions. The third ballot remains what we are accustomed to, and that is the ballot for a provincial legislature, which is a single-tier system. I indicated that there will be 19 unique elections. The first election, the ballot paper will be the same for everyone, whether you vote in the country, whether you vote overseas, irrespective of the province in which you vote, the ballot paper will be the same. The second ballot for the National Assembly will be unique to a region or a province. In other words, it will be determined by the parties or independent candidates contesting that region. So there will be 9 such variation of the regional ballot. And the last ballot will be the provincial legislature ballot. The ballots will be set out in 3 distinct colors so that persons will be able to distinguish between those three ballots.
And there's, of course, some viewer questions that we'll take tonight as well, because they've sent in some of, their questions around this particular process. And I'll ask that we start with the first one so that we are able to get some of the answers for the viewers then tonight. So they are able then to at least follow what we are talking about. And one of the questions comes from Sidwell, who's asking, how will the IEC ensure that there's adequate security should there be, for example, violence at polling stations?
We hope there won't be violence. However, we are planning for all eventualities to safeguard the electoral process so that we can give a country an outcome following the election. The issue of safeguarding people's life, assets, and all those things remains still, even on voting day, the responsibility of the South African Police Services. We are working closely with the security cluster to derive plans in areas where we know there are risks. There will be risk categorization of all voting stations so that the South African Police Services can deploy adequate resources to ensure that on voting day and for hours following the declaration of results, there will be peace in the country.
All right, let's take another viewer question, and I'm hoping that this one can then be put up so that we are able to then take it for the benefit of some of our viewers. And that is Kaloi, who says that, for instance, the Free State is being allocated 10 seats in the second ballot paper. How is the region Free State being divided into these 10 seats?
That is an important question. There are no sub-provincial constituencies. In other words, what do we mean? We mean the Free State as a region is not divided beyond the provincial border. So it is not like in a municipal elections where in a municipality you will have wards as constituencies. So the whole province of the Free State, for purposes of regional elections for seats in the National Assembly, is a constituency. There are no constituencies beyond the province. So the 10 members are elected on the basis of a multi-member constituency. In other words, those members are represented to represent the entirety of the Free State. They are not linked to a geographic space. The only geographic space they are linked to is the province of the Free State. So for that reason, there are no districts or there are no wards or equivalent to say this member represents this district. They all represent, the 10 of them, they all represent the region of the Free State in the National Assembly. The purposes of splitting the regions and allocating number of seats to them on the basis of the registered population is to ensure that the voices in the National Assembly are representative of the totality of the country and that no strong regions dominate the debates or dominate representation, or provinces with more resources do not dominate representation in the National Assembly.
And hopefully then, let's take another viewer question so that we also then get another quick answer to this one. Sehwat is saying, good evening, what is it that they're going to do to protect the ballots after we have voted? Also, do you think we will ever vote online?
First thing, when we close the stations after voting, we do not move uncounted ballot papers. We convert that station into a voting station in the presence of observers, party agents, and candidates that are present. We count in the presence of all those persons. Once we have counted, the presiding officer will produce a result slip, which is the result of the vote at that station. The result slip can be signed by party agents if they are present, but the presiding officer must sign the result slip. Once we completed the result slip, we complete it in duplicate. The one result is pasted at the voting station to alert everyone of the outcome of the election in that station. The other result slip is then taken to a local capturing site where it is scanned into an image and the capturing then could start. We safeguard the ballot boxes in the event that the Commission authorizes a recount if there is an objection related to the result at that voting station. However, before ballots are moved from that station, there is a result, there is an outcome. So even if something untoward were to happen to those ballots, there is a result that would have been declared in the presence of all contestants at that voting station. The second issue related to electronic voting, it is unavoidable that at some point the country will need to migrate to some form of technology so that we further increase convenience to the voter. Why do we say that? With each election, the number of contestants increases. It is no longer sustainable that you could accommodate all those contestants on a ballot paper. In 1994, there were 26 parties that contested the national and provincial elections. Fast forward to 2019, there were 78 unique parties that had met the requirements to contest those elections. So as ballot papers become difficult, if they assume multi-page or multi-column in character, we may need to use technology for purposes of extending convenience to the voter. The purpose of technology in election should at all costs be to solve a identifiable problem. What is the business case for technology in an election? For us, it would be ease of voting for the voting public, ensuring improved accuracy of the count, and being able to release the result in as short a period as is possible, and if possible, to also reduce the cost of doing elections and possibly drive up the rate of participation in an election.
All right, Mr. Sheburi, thank you so much for your time. And this is the first of many as we then go towards the 29th of May and picking apart different issues in order to be able to understand what we, are going to be seeing unfold during that time and the processes that then follow. So thank you so much for taking some of the viewer questions and to be able to clarify some of the issues for us. That was the IEC Deputy CEO, Masego Sheburi.